I believe. Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? I'm in a different part of my house today, as you can see. How are you? How are you? How are you? Such a pleasure as always to be here with you. Let us begin first and foremost. What? I'm Rosemary Nonny Knight. I am the Prosperity Minister, and we always start with how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Rosemary Nonny Knight. I am the Prosperity Minister and a business coach for ambitious spiritual people determined to leave behind the pain, the limiting beliefs of the past, and rise victorious in their true design life. Although the ultimate goal of all the work that I do is that you thrive, you prosper, you make at least six figures whilst living in your purpose. We're going to start today's stream, this deliberate millionaire stream, with the affirmation, which will be probably the final time we use it this week. I am enough. I've always been enough. I will always be enough. Let's start with that. Take a deep breath in. I am enough. I have always been enough. I will always be enough. I am enough. One more time. I am enough. I have always been enough. I will always be enough. I am enough. Woo! We are enough. You're enough. I'm enough. Everybody's enough. But one thing that will make you question your enoughness is the drama, potential drama that you have in the relationship with your mother. Is it a healthy one? Is it not a healthy one? Does your mom love you in the way that you need to be loved? Because it doesn't actually matter whether your mother loved you or not, because she may have loved you. In fact, most mothers do. Okay, there's an exception to the rule, but for the most part, most of our mothers loved us. The question is, did they love us in the way that we needed to be loved? And why is this relevant to us? Just imagine to yourself, as a child, as a baby, this person brought you into the world, or started looking after you from a very, very young age. So your mother figure. So it might not be your actual birth mother, but definitely a mother figure. And they brought you into the world, and you spent a heck of a lot of your time with them, unless for whatever reason you didn't, which will also have its own dramas if you didn't spend that much time with a primary mothering figure. But if you did, well, even if you didn't, if you didn't, that in itself is going to feed you the underlying story that you were not good enough to warrant the attention of this mother person who was supposed to, care for you more than anything else. Now, this is a message that tends to show up in your adult life. Even if you did have a mom who was present, who was always, took care of all your physical needs, but didn't really see you. Because I think of myself as a mom. When I became a mother, my children really did take up a heck of my brain space, And I spent a lot of time, well, for goodness sake, the first 7 years of being a mother, I was breastfeeding. Because I loved that connection, I could look in my child's eyes, and my three daughters, look them in the eye whilst they're here on my boob, basically. And I would be communing with them, communicating. I was always stunned and amazed by that connection that I had with my children. I mean, we slept in beds together, regardless of what they told us we should or should not do. I decided, you know what? Being a mother is tiring enough to have to get up every 2 hours to to feed a crying baby seems crazy to me. You know what? They're coming into bed with me, and we're going to, whenever they wake up, I'll just turn to the side and feed and carry on sleeping. So we did. But the thing I found, I remember with my first daughter particularly, and this is what kind of gave me the courage to do it with my other daughters, was this sense of connection. Even 1 second before she woke up, I would wake up. 1 second before my husband even tried to turn over in the wrong direction, I would wake up and push him back. There was something about this connection with my child that did not, yeah, I was mother bear. There was no way anybody was going to harm my child. There was no way, and that's also one of the reasons why I home educated, because there was no way somebody else was spending more time with my child than I was. Okay, call it whatever you will, but that was my thinking. Now, my children, and I'm sure I didn't always get it right, no doubt about it, but my children had that as the foundation, this deep knowing that I was always there, always. That to the best of my abilities, I saw them. And when I couldn't see them, I would apologize when I noticed that I'd gone wrong. I apologized. I want, and I still do, choose to honor who they are, not who I think they should be, not who I want them to be, but who they are. Now, I didn't always feel that with my parents. You may not have felt that with your mother specifically. Now, this is not a blame and shame mothers. No, no, no. I know how hard it is to be a mom. Okay, it is incredibly difficult, especially since nobody really tells you exactly how you're supposed to do it. You just kind of make it up as you go along, ultimately. So there's no shaming or anything of mothers here, okay? But I am wanting you to hear what could be happening in your life that could affect how you show up in the marketplace, how you show up for your own life, how you show up, how you show up. Because if the person who was supposed to see you and love you unconditionally was not able to, for whatever reason, you will spend most of your adulthood trying to get that attention, trying to be approved of. You would have learned as a child what to do, what not to do to get mother's approval, to get mother to notice you. And you will carry that on into adulthood, where you may be in a career that you don't actually really want to be in because it's what you've seen is going to make mother approve of you. But then there's the other side of this, where, and I know I fell foul of this, where it was like I wanted unconditional love unconsciously. I wanted to be loved unconditionally. So then I would rebel against what I felt they wanted me to be, or what my mother wanted me to be myself, And but this is it. It was to the detriment of myself. As in, I would literally break things, like break my business a few times because I wanted to be acknowledged. It's always, there was this weird thinking in my head that if I succeed, then it will look as though my mom was right not to love me unconditionally. And I know it makes almost no sense until you start to look at why you act in the way that you act. And then you start to see that in your crazy, amazing mind, it made sense. That you did not ever want to admit that, how do I explain this? So there's the one side of it where you're submitting and being whatever it is that they want you to be. But then there's the other side of you that rebels because you don't want that kind of conditional love that comes with becoming something other than yourself in order to be loved. And so then you stay in a broken kind of situation because you want them to love you, even when you're broken. And so you stay broken longer than you need to be broken for. You break things when they're going well because you really want them to love you. You want your mom to notice. You're not even thinking consciously that it's your mother you're looking for her attention and her affection. But you are doing it. So it's like, no, I'm not going to fix anything because I want you to see me as I am and love me anyway. Because that's what you were always looking for as a child. When you were being naughty, you wanted their attention and their love, regardless of how naughty you were. But then you also would submit and try to be whatever it is that you think they need you to be in order for them to be affectionate towards you. But whichever way, neither of those stances gets you what you want. Neither of those stances makes you feel good. Neither of those stances are good because you're living to a standard that was never real in some ways. It might have been real to your mother, but the truth is your mother might not even have been thinking that. To the best of her ability, she was doing the best that she could, which is why, you get to a point finally when you realize their parents are just you. Parents are just children that spent a bit more time on the planet and then gave birth to other children. And somehow we're not supposed to be responsible for these children. and got blamed for anything they did or didn't do, depending on what generation you're in. If you're in my parents' generation, it was never the parents' fault, it was always the children. Now, in our generation, for whatever reason, it's always the parents' fault and never the children. So basically, so it's how things change. We go from one extreme to the other, one extreme to the other. But whichever way, we're still left with people who were parented as well as the parent could, but sometimes still not as well as the child needed. And you're still carrying those wounds, those ideas into your adulthood. You come to start a business and you either keep breaking it as soon as it sees any kind of success because you really want to be loved, whether you've broken business or not, you want to be loved anyway. And it's crazy, but you do it unconsciously until the unconscious becomes conscious and you realize, why the frick am I putting myself through all this drama? Why don't I simply love myself and stop waiting for someone outside of me to make me feel enough? Or you stay stuck in a career that is draining the life out of you, but your mom likes it. Your mom is proud of you. Or you stay even in a relationship where it's the part that doesn't get you at all, but it was chosen by your parents or by your mom, and your mom approves of it, and you want that approval. Again, completely unconscious. You stay stuck in situations that feel horrible, but they satisfy everybody else, but not you. You keep hoping that if you are just good enough, you will be loved. Except you're looking for love in the wrong place. Your mom did the best that she knew how. The number of clients I've spoken to, and some with really hidden lives, where their moms actually, it's because some moms are very obviously toxic. Very obviously toxic. Some moms don't even, particularly the generation above us, not all, I'm not giving a blanket mom thing here, but there's a generation, my generation of our parents, of my parents anyway, that it really is that they felt the child was an insurance policy for them, as in the child was born so that they would take care of them whenever, as soon as they were ready, or as soon as the mom was ready to give up life, generally, then the children were supposed to give up their own life and take care of the mother, particularly the daughters, but even the sons. Okay, and there's this generation of parents who really do feel as though it is their right. After all, they sacrifice so much for their children, so therefore their children should now sacrifice everything for them. Okay, and it's an entitlement thing. And if you are under it, either you have been programmed into believing that that's true for you, or you're rebelling against it and feeling guilty all the time about it. But whichever way, it takes up a lot of energy. It takes up a lot of your brain space. And really, the freedom lies in breaking free of any of these ideas and making your own way, rediscovering what actually feels good to you to do, which is really hard to do when you've been programmed a certain way. You kind of almost, because if when you've been programmed a certain way to think they are God and you're supposed to just do whatever they want you to do, then it's difficult to stand your ground and really be objective in what do I want. This is what I was saying about there's certain clients who have this hidden life where, because they can't get the approval of their parents in the way that they really want it, they have this either with their sexuality, where they're hiding their sexuality, and it's really extreme stuff, which I have no judgment for at all, which is why sometimes they work with me, because I don't judge any of this stuff at all. I can see where it's coming from. I'm not saying that that's all that it is, because sometimes very validly this is people's self-expression, absolutely, no doubt about that. However, I can see where it may have, where the seeds were planted by a mother's attitude towards their child, towards her child, particularly sons. And there's also the daughters thing as well, where the daughter, especially if you come from a traditional African culture, where girl children are really not considered that important, as and then it's unfortunate that the mothers are the ones that then continue this tradition of the girls are not that important. The girls are not that important. Instead of finally standing up for their daughters, they, oh, well, in our culture, the females can't do anything. So this is just the way it is. And you have to go along with it. And it's like, yeah, but you are telling me this. Why can't you decide, no, I will not treat my daughters this way? because I hated being treated this way. But instead, actually, it's really weird how mothers will do exactly the same thing they hated being done to them, they will do to their own daughters as well. And then wonder why there's sometimes a bit of a conflict between mothers and daughters here, but then also between fathers and mothers, no, sons and mothers. Sons then suddenly get really either really feminine, extremely feminine, because they're seeking so much to be acknowledged and loved by that feminine energy. And so they therefore really take themselves over to the other side and be really feminine. But it's always hidden from their mom because they still want their mom's approval. And all of this, when you're trying to live in your purpose, when you're trying to accomplish goals, there's so much energy messed up in all of this entanglement and craziness. If that means that you just don't have the energy to give to building the life you actually want, which is unfortunate because that's what you actually want, but you're spending so much time, sometimes completely unknowingly, trying so hard to get this unconditional love from a mother who is probably just going about her own business, getting what she wants, manipulating however she wants to manipulate, or just doing the best she can to love you in the way she knows how to love you. But it's because you are not self-aware enough to ask for what you want, or you do ask for what you want, but you can't get it from that particular mother source, you end up getting off your purpose path or continually trying to heal. When actually the magic here, you don't have to get off your purpose path to heal. You can be on your purpose path and start reparenting yourself. Instead of waiting and looking to your actual mother to apologize, to give you unconditional love whilst you fail or rebel or submit, you can simply recognize your mother always did the best that she could. Okay. She may still be in your life causing all kinds of chaos and havoc right now, but you do not have to engage anymore. Personally, I would try as much as possible to get out of an environment that you're sharing with your mom. So if you're living with your mother and you're a grown-ass adult at this point, I would suggest strongly that you potentially find a way out. Now, I know that's not always an option, or at least not an immediate option, but I'll definitely put it on your vision board to get yourself to a place where you can move away from being around a very toxic mother-child relationship. Now, if you're in a caring mode with this parent, I must admit there's part of me that I will say to it depends. I'm not going to give blanket instructions here because of course I don't know your specific situation, but I would suggest, honey, that sometimes it is as simple as I don't want to do this anymore and find another way. Okay, regardless of what the world would tell you you're supposed to do or not do, and what is greedy and what is not selfish, and blah 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 blah. No one has to walk in your shoes and no one has to live your life. So don't give credence to random people, including myself, ideas of what is right for you. Give yourself freedom to make the right decision for you. For you. Give yourself the freedom to have all of the choices and then come up with one that feels good to you, which might change from day to day. But you get to choose. You do not have to go along with what other people expect from you because this is your life, your one life. And yeah, some people will say, oh, it's selfish to just think about that. No, it's not. Your parents got to live theirs. You get to live yours. It's not selfish to live yours. And it's like for people who want to start up a business and create multi-generational wealth and all of that, you'll be able to help your mother better when you're in a more financially stable position rather than killing yourself. When you're not in a stable position yourself, it's inevitably going to lead to unnecessary stress and struggle when you don't have to live that way. It's time for you to complete the mother story. And it really starts by taking your power back from your mother figure and owning it, looking at yourself and choosing to love yourself as you are. Love yourself as you are. Parent yourself again. Look yourself in the mirror where your mother did not see you for who you are and tried to mold you into something that she felt you should be. And so that's made you forever question whether you are enough, You are enough. Start reminding yourself over and over again, I am enough. I have always been enough. I will always be enough. Speak to yourself in the mirror. You, Rosemary, are enough. You've always been enough. You will always be enough. Okay? The mother and father desert you. The divine always has you, has your back, always has your back. These are things that you can remind yourself of over again, because ultimately, the reason why you believe as you believe right now, and the reason why you're reacting from that belief is simply because you told yourself that unconsciously numerous times. And because you told yourself that numerous times, you now do actually believe the nonsense that you are not enough. But you are. And you've always been, and you always will be. You are one with the divine, created in the image and likeness of the divine. There is nothing lacking in you. The divine knows no lack, neither do you. You are powerful. You are limitless creator. You can create that vision inside of your heart, but not if you keep sabotaging yourself because you're hoping that if you stay in a broken position long enough, you will be noticed and you will be loved. And you will not know that you are doing this. This is why sometimes working with a coach mentor is an objective observer who is able to help you see when you are literally shooting yourself in the foot for what seems to be crazy reasons, but actually there are logical reasons why you are there. There is something you're getting from it, even if it is that you are simply getting the respect of your mom, even if it's going against your very nature. Okay, there's always a reason. You might be sabotaging yourself and staying in a failure position because you really want your mother to notice. I've said this already, but there is always a goal. There's always a win that you're getting from staying in a position that feels horrible. Okay, always, always, always. It doesn't always logically make sense, but when you're able to step away from what you're doing, or become the observer without, I still want you to live life. Okay, so I'm not saying observe everything, but if you notice that certain patterns are showing up, for one, get help, or be an observer and notice, why could I be acting in this way when I say that I want this, but then I keep settling for this? What's going on? What is going on with me? And that's why in the book, Remove the Blocks, I give you a system for helping you clear stuff. So go and get the book. If you're on Instagram, it's in my bio. If you're on Facebook, the link is around this video, or wherever else you're listening to the video. It's either in my bio or around the video. But you want to figure out, why am I staying in this either failure position, or why am I staying in this unfulfilled position? It could be to do with your relationship with your mother. It could be to do with anything else, but I'm just talking right now about a relationship with a mother, and the how it can actually manifest. How it can manifest, as in, it can either cause you to stay in failure, or it can cause you to stay in success in the wrong place, basically. So unfulfilled success. But you don't have to settle for any of these things. Okay, you can choose again. But the first step of choosing again is noticing that there's something going on. Okay, so get a copy of the book. That will support you for sure. Is anything else I wanted to say here? Love yourself, ultimately. Love yourself, see yourself, understand yourself, acknowledge yourself, because sometimes all you're trying to do is get that from other people. Those other people are usually not in the position to give it to you anyway. And for the most part, you're not always aware that that's what you're doing. It's time for us to wake up, to become more aware. If you're an ambitious spiritual person, you can't afford to still be asleep, okay, in certain areas of your life. You can't, because obviously it's not getting you where you want to go. So if you definitely want to thrive, to prosper, to make at least 6 figures whilst living your purpose, have empowering relationships, be fulfilled, free, financially abundant, and love drenched, honey, we have to get aware of the choices we're making. In some ways, why you're making those choices doesn't actually matter, but sometimes in seeing why you're making the choices, it'll make you realize, I don't want to do that again. Thank you very much. And it will help you then to make a few more clear decisions as to, what do I actually want, not just where I'm being led by my emotions. Okay, remember, we act on our goals, not our feelings. Most people act on their feelings and wish for their goals. We, as ambitious spiritual people, choose to act on our goals, feel our feelings. We feel the feelings, of course we do, but the feelings do not get to determine what we do or do not do. We keep moving towards or from what we have chosen to create. Okay? Okay, so just consider that. Consider what I've said here. Is this affecting you? Is it showing up? How is it showing up in your life? I would love to know. What is your relationship like with your mother? Do you have specific things that you would like me to talk into? Then put it in the comments. I'll come back to it some other time. Until the next time, my loves, it's been a pleasure as always to be here with you. I am now going off to finish watching Taken. Anybody watch the Taken, the Liam Neeson thing? Well, I'm sure lots of people have. My daughter is watching it for the first time, so it's fascinating to see it through her eyes. Until the next time, my loves, go forth and prosper. It's been a pleasure as always hanging out with you here. Much amazing, amazing, amazing love. Bye.